Scorched Earth is finally here after what felt like years of being stuck on that island. Now, we get to be stuck in the blasted, sand-filled wasteland of the dunes. Thankfully not for as long as the island. But I'm here today to see how this version of the dunes compares to what came before it, and what changes have improved, and how the experience of ARK's famed desert map holds up to the new world that ASA is making. In this review, I'll be going over a ton of things, and if you want, you can skip around to those specific things on the timeline. I'll be looking at the following: the map itself, the old stuff that's been updated, new content, Bob's Tall Tales, miscellaneous, and the bad. Oh, and also just for clarification, if I say compared to ASC at any point, I mean just Scorched individually, since I don't think it's fair to compare the games on a wide scale, just the individual maps. Alright, with all that being said, let's go get some heat stroke. Scorched Earth, and I guess deserts as a whole, have never really been known for their breathtaking beauty. When compared to a lush tropical island or an overgrown mushroom cave, Scorched Earth does feel a lot less pretty looking in general. But ASA proves once again, while it may not run great, it damn looks good. Old Scorched was known for one color and one color only: yellow. Every spotted desert, every canyon, and every obelisk looked the exact same. Thankfully, not anymore. Up in higher areas where you're less likely to find water, you'll see the normal desert yellow, sandy color that you're used to. But travel down into the canyons and you'll see a more reddish looking sand, almost like clay. Scorch has had a lot more color across the entire map, but most notably is the increased amount of greenery, with the North Canyons being like a proper oasis now, and the obelisks having a lot more greenery around them as well. Scorch is just as unforgiving as it always been, and these places of greenery don't take away from the constant feeling of the sun beating down on you. The most noteworthy changes from ASE to ASA are the following: the blue obelisk is now a jungle, the dunes have more ruins instead of oases, the new look of the sandstorm, which is daunting to say the least, little bugs that now fly around you in the canyons, them removing a metal mountain. Why? Why would they do this? I liked this mountain. Oh, I'm sad. Adding crystal obsidian spawns atop a lot of the pillars of stone that litter the map. The North Mountain's getting a massive overhaul with a fair amount of water ponds up there, changing up the terrain and how you traverse it. The rivers and lakes of the center of the map have a lot more water, which I'm personally a huge fan of. It makes the map feel more alive and does give you the illusion of safe spots. But if we're being honest, there are no safe spots from the Terrorbirds. Overall, the new Scorched is much like its ASA island counterpart. It is still fundamentally the exact same map, with minor changes that do alter the game flow slightly. If you know ASE's Scorched, you'll know this Scorched too, but you'll find a fair few surprises along the way. A fair amount of old Scorch items and tames got some nice changes. Definitely more than the island got. The Morellatops, the Jerboa, the Phoenix, and the Mantis all got minor TLCs. Starting from the top, the Morellatops can store more water with its new water stat. It is worth noting that this is currently bugged and the water stat cannot go above 750, but this will likely be changed in a future patch. The Morellatops also has the ability to irrigate crops by puking on them. Of course, mine didn't do it here because, I don't know. Jerboas can now spawn at any level, not just level 1. The Phoenix can now land, and it has more than just fire red as the primary color of its flames. And lastly, the Mantis can now put gauntlets in place of a weapon slot for more armor. All small, but nice changes for the wildlife of the desert. Wind turbines and water wells got changes as well. Wind turbines no longer need wind to function, a change that is likely a bug, but I kind of hope they don't fix. Water wells can also be irrigated now, meaning that if they're connected to an infinite water source, they themselves become infinite water sources. A nice change that is definitely applicable to a few spots. The new Adobe model and set are fantastic. It just looks great, and I kind of wanted an excuse to show off my base. The caves of Scorch are still fantastic, and in my opinion, Scorch has always had the best artifact caves, and that still rings true. The Scorched Earth Classics got a nice little TLC, but nothing too major. The updates are nice, and I very much look forward to seeing what changes come in the later DLCs. In terms of brand new stuff for Scorch, there honestly isn't much. We got 2 new caves and the winner of the creature vote, the Fasula Sucus. We'll start off with the caves. The brand new Oasis Cave and the Oil Cave.
The Oasis Cave is a nice addition to Scorched, adding a very lush cave to contrast the others. But it really is a damn shame it's not an artifact cave. I mean, the Flamekeeper was right there. It is a good cave for drop running though, so I can't be too mad. The Oil Cave, located within the Wyvern Trench, is literally pointless. I'm not joking, nothing spawns in this cave, besides like 2 notes. I'm not sure if that's a bug, or if genuinely nothing is meant to spawn in this cave, but yeah, there it is. For what it's worth, they both look really cool and fit the feeling of Scorched incredibly well. Lastly, we have the Fastlow, a solid addition to the roster to the Dune Sea. Its design fits wonderfully into the sandy ARK, and its ability to gather flint is unmatched. The power of its sand vortex and the ability to weaken armor with every attack is a definite meta shakeup. Overall, a bit of a letdown in terms of new tangible content. Going forward, I do hope they add and change more things in later DLCs.
When we were told we were getting an adventure pack filled with things that fit with the map, but not necessarily the story of the map, I was pretty excited. I admit, I didn't expect it to connect to both the animated series and ARK 2, but here we are. Carl Urban voicing Bob and probably just making shit up to Mika is such a fun thing to listen to. I kind of hope this isn't a joke and we genuinely do see Bob in ARK 2. Okay, enough lore stuff for now. The actual pack is kind of insane. If this is the precedent set by Scorched Earth, I am very excited to see what comes next. Bob's Tall Tales includes a lot of great cosmetic additions, including cowboy-inspired attire, a whole new frontier building set with the best windows in the game, a ton of useful items, fucking working trains, and of course the star of the show, the Oasisaur. Let's tackle these one at a time. Things like potted plants and the piano are things I have wanted in the base game for millennium. It's a shame it's behind a paywall, but I'm just glad they're finally in the game now. I admit, I haven't played around with the trains too much. I've built rudimentary ones in single player, and from what I can tell, they run pretty smoothly and work great as just fun PvE things to build. The new building set and skins is a great way of doing this going forward, and I would personally love to see more building sets added like this, not even necessarily with Bob's Tall Tales. Like, I don't know, maybe that scrapped tech building variant we were going to get for Gen 2? The star of the show, however, is the Oasisaur, which, after playing the game, I can safely say is fine. I was in the group who thought this thing was going to be OP, like game-breaking overpowered. But playing, it's pretty much something you just have ominously watch your base from a distance. It is literally unable to defend itself. It's pretty damn annoying to keep alive, it's enormous, and it can't be cryopotted. The resurrection only happens once every 24 hours, which I think is a fair balance trade-off to just how strong of ability that really is. The Oasisaur is really cool, and is just neat. My only issue with Bob's Tall Tales is the fact that so much great stuff is locked behind a paywall for a lot of players. As of right this second, I'd still say it's worth the money, and that will only become more true as stuff is added. But I just got to admit, I'm really excited to see what other wild stories Uncle Bob is going to share with us. This is the part of the video where I just list off minor things. It didn't really fit into any other section. Some good and some bad, so let's just get into it. Thunderstorms no longer breaking generators is a fantastic change. I am sad that Thorny Dragons did not receive a buff of any kind, since they are terrible at getting wood, but chainsaws exist, so I think that balances it out. I am not a fan of Fire Wyverns hitting the rider now. The Rock Golem being able to sidestep is a nice quality of life change, and they blend in so much better now. And I am slightly sad we didn't get a tech cave, but I'll take the Scorched with Ascension since it's pretty amazing. Alright, I think that about covers the little miscellaneous things I had. Now on to the proper bad stuff. While I admit, deep down I am still an ARK shill and deeply obsessed with the franchise, I can see its faults where they lie. To start off, we have the Fastlow. It single-handedly takes the whole cake as the worst taming method in the entire game. Yes, beating these two. Just so we're all on the same page. You have to wait for the Fasolasuchus to bury. Once he does, you use explosives to bring him out of the ground. Once this happens, you grab on and have to steer the Fasula into rocks to build up torpor. However, each rock maybe does 5 to 10 if you're lucky. So you'll be hitting rocks for a fucking while. These things can have up to 15k torpor, by the way. There is a saving grace, however. If you hit metal, crystal, salt, and other harder rocks, you'll do more torpor per hit. However, getting to these rocks without getting dismounted by hitting a wall or getting stuck on something is nearly impossible for one little detail. Whenever you hit anything with the Faslo, you will lose control of it for about 2.5 seconds. Hitting anything resets this timer, so you'll have moments where you're literally spinning in place, unable to control your Fasolasuchus. During this period, he'll move into whatever the hell he wants, and it will probably be something that dismounts you, forcing you to start the whole thing over again. I am skipping over a ton of the finer details, like how the Faslo cannot be aggro to anything for 20 seconds to bury, and the fact that it literally can't hit small things in front of its hitbox. Because holy shit, this thing sucks to tame. A simple and quick fix that would instantly make this thing so much more bearable is removing the fact that you lose control when you hit something. I should not be punished for doing the right thing. Next up is the Faslo again, but in a different way. A lot of Scorched suffers from this, and it's the same issue I have with ASE's Scorched. Half the map is just kind of pointless. In an ARK run, I have no incentive to tame a Fasolasuchus. In an ARK run, there's no incentive to go to the Oasis Cave nor the Oil Cave. I should make this clear. I like these new additions and I'd rather have them than not, but I don't want meaningless content to be added to maps. Going forward, I want caves to either have new artifacts, or unique challenges or rewards. More issues with the fact that there are no new spawns besides fucking eels. People could probably argue that that is nitpicking. I don't want to seem like I'm nitpicking, so I'll just put my main issue with ASA's Scorched Earth in one sentence. I am sad I'm gonna beat Scorched Earth in a week. That sadness isn't necessarily a bad thing. Scorched has always been the strange middle child of ARK, and I think it's okay being that. Altogether, my experience with ASA Scorched Earth has been nothing but pleasant. And I didn't mention a lot of things because they're bugs and in the patch to get fixed. Things like black pearls, the storms being super common, and wyvern spawns being addressed. Overall, I've absolutely enjoyed and adored my time on Scorched, and it probably is my favorite map, out of the legacy maps anyway. I just have so many fond memories on this blasted desert ARK that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to hate it.
I feel like rating this map is, like, weird. I've never really been a fan of rating things, but if you're curious, 7 out of 10, I guess. This was a very new project for me, and I enjoyed making this a lot. Speaking of cool projects, if you're seeing this, you can check the pinned comment below, and you can actually see another project I was in with a good friend of mine named Oofston. Me and him will be going over the animated series in depth and discussing it a ton on his channel, which will be linked in the description as well as in the pinned comment. I hope you guys really did enjoy, and credits should be playing as I'm talking. This is new for me, and I got a lot of ARK stuff planned, and I think it's sort of fitting that my first real ASA video was on Scorched Earth and not the island. I don't know what that says, but it says something. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one.